So listen, I'm not gonna lie. In this life, there's so many terrible things people gotta deal with. People gotta deal with poverty, hunger, illness, but the worst of them all gotta be retail work. To the people that know what I'm talking about, I obviously don't have to explain this. And if you plan on pursuing some type of work in this field, whether it be part-time, full-time, or anything, get well soon, and I hope you make a speedy recovery. The stress and mental strain will have you thinking you some type of brain surgeon who been working 12-hour shifts. But no, it's just a customer not understanding why they can't get a kid-sized shoe in a 13 and men's. And the customers you will meet are some of the most ignorant and entitled people you will ever lay your eyes on. And working in retail is really the main reason why I developed the I don't like people attitude, because it really made me realize that I don't like people. Not only that, but the terrible management and the employee environment sucked. And to top it all off, you put in all this pain and hard work for hours just to get paid a measly minimum wage. Now, I worked retail for about 2 years and a quarter, and I seen some of the craziest shit that no amount of training could ever prepare you for. Like ever. And me being fresh out of high school during the pandemic didn't help either. See, me, I was looking to make a quick buck. So as soon as I got out of high school, I started applying for jobs. Crazy enough, I actually ended up landing the job that I wanted, which was Foot Locker, because I was a big ass sneakerhead. I was hired as a retail sales associate, but I ended up doing everything anyway, so that position really didn't even matter. My position really should have been a do-it-all ass nigga, because that's really what I was. But on the first day, I already knew the job was gonna be some fuck shit, because I didn't even get trained. When I first came in, they told me to go to the back and start doing these work tasks on my phone. And then 20 minutes later, they told me to go out on the floor and go help a customer. They gave me a walkie-talkie and a SKU scanner and sent me on my way. Since I worked in a retail store that sold apparel and not a grocery store, the environment was kind of different. Now instead of customers tweaking over food, they tweaking over clothes and shoes. Now let me give you some examples of some customers that you will probably deal with on a daily basis. So first up, we got my personal favorite customer. It's the customer that know it all. Obviously, this customer is omniscient and has incredible foresight to know what the fuck we got in the back of the store. And they always swear that I'm not doing my job the right way, even though they never worked this fucking job a day in their life. Like, imagine the audacity of somebody coming into your store and saying that you have something that you don't have because they seen it online. Come to find out that when they checked online for the product, they didn't even check to see that it was in your store. They didn't call or anything. They just came to your store and told you that they know it's here because they seen it online. And if you tell this person that you don't have the product, now they're claiming that you're holding the shoe for somebody else or another employee. Well, since you know so much, let me take the uniform off my back and put it on your fucking body since you want to do my job so bad. Next, we got the straight up plain ass rude customer. No matter where you work, this is one that you just can never avoid. Everybody got to go through this when they work in retail. I feel like it's kind of your initiation to encounter a rude ass customer. Imagine waking up early in the morning and walking into somebody's establishment to be a fucking dickhead. Like, I don't know who pissed in your cereal this morning, but keep that nasty ass attitude to yourself because nobody wants to deal with that shit. Like, I'm already not a morning person, and when people be coming in the store just being a straight asshole, I'll be ready to grab them by their neck and throw their ass out the front door. Now we got the dumb customer. See, this the thing about this one. It's not even their fault. I think sometimes they just be lost in the sauce and don't know what be going on. Because listen, there's no way you just asked me for this shoe in the 11 and I said all we got is a 13, and then you asked me did we have an 11 and a half. Like, there's no way you did that, right? Sadly, this is a reoccurring character that like to make a lot of cameos. It seemed like their only goal was to make my job harder and not be a consumer, which they accomplished. And you know this list wouldn't be complete without that one person that think they the main character and try to come into the store as we closing. Like, it'll literally be a minute before closing and all the gates will be pulled down. And yet, this doofus still decided to come into the store to shop. Like, bro, you literally had 10 hours throughout the day to come in here and try to buy something, but yet you want to come at the last minute as you see we're trying to close up. And you might not think it's a problem, but that is super inconvenient because now we have to stay overtime and everybody already tired, bro. We want to go home. And the area that I worked in was not a good area because when I tell you we got robbed every week, like we got robbed every week. Like, it wasn't like they was coming in there at gunpoint telling us to take everything out the cash register, but they was coming in there just snatching all the clothes and running out the store, and we couldn't do a thing. The security guard couldn't even do a thing. Like, it got to a point where they was doing it so much that my manager started recognizing them before they even walked into the store and tried to lock the doors before they could even get in. And you probably wondering right now, well, why didn't you call the police? Well, we called the police multiple times and the police did jack diddly shit. So basically we was left to fend off these thieves by ourselves like we was the Foot Locker G.I. Joe or something. It got so normal for them to rob us that one time I remember I was helping a customer in the back of the store and I see this big black man with a ski mask walking to the store. So now as I'm talking to the customer, I'm just staring down this dude as he's walking towards the shirts that's on the rack. So then in the most cartoonish way possible, once the dude make it over to the shirts, he pulls out a big black plastic bag from inside of his pants. He airs the bag out and start casually putting the stacks of shirts inside the black bag. And as he's doing this, I can't do shit, so I pretty much continue my conversation with the customer as we all just staring at this man, and he just walked out the door. And don't get it confused either, because the customers are not the only problem when it comes to retail work. It's also the employees and the management. Like I said, I worked there for 2 years and a quarter, and throughout all that time, I had at least 7 manager changes. Do you know how crazy that is? And all the employees that worked there was just getting over. Foot Locker was literally like a second job. It wasn't even a main job. So a lot of them didn't even work. They'll always call off or do no call, no shows, and my manager would not get rid of them. Now that guy bro hitting me up trying to call me on my days off, I never answered that shit. And to top it all off, I was getting paid chump change for it all. I barely made any money. They only paid me enough to buy the shit that was in their store. The only thing beneficial was the discount that you get for the store, which was pretty much useless based off how much money you made in the first place. And as I said before, I pretty much did it all. Stocking, cleaning, cashier, sales associate, you name it, I did it. I was even considering moving up to manager, but I just felt like it was something that I didn't want to do. I knew my time was coming. Time for me to get the fuck up out of there. The only reason I stayed so long was because one of my friends actually worked with me. It made it much more bearable, but it was so crazy because the manager was hating on us and didn't want to put us on a schedule together. So we barely worked with each other anyways. But when we did, it was probably the best days I had at the job. Like the other employees was cool, but I really didn't vibe with none of them because they was all pushing 30. Eventually the shit got too overwhelming for me though. The money wasn't hitting and I was tired of dealing with the goofy ass customers. Not only did it get extremely old and tiring, it felt like I was doing the same shit every day, like I got hit with a genjutsu. So one day I dead ass just woke up and decided not to go no more. I didn't even quit. I didn't tell nobody either. I just stopped going. After that experience, I ended up developing retail PTSD. And whenever I go to retail stores, I make sure I treat everybody with respect. Like I always make sure I put my items back in the right place. And if I mess something up, I fix it. Just because I already know the feeling of having to clean up behind dumbass customers. Retail workers work just as hard as everybody else, so don't treat them like they owe you something. And don't be any of the people that I named in this video.